Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, this is a special treat because we got two guests on. First, David Lukacs, you know him all, CEO of Liquid Avatar Technologies, trades on the CSC on the stock symbol LQID. But special guest, glad to have her for the first time, and I know we're going to have her back more. Ruth McCartney, co-founder and digital diva at McCartney Multimedia. Now, for those of you who are new to the story, first, what you got to know about Liquid Avatar, they're a North American fintech company that's empowering individuals to manage, control, and generate value from their own private identity. They're essentially turning identity into a profit. But what we're here to talk about today is that Liquid Avatar has launched Oasis Digital Studios to support the development, management, distribution of AR Enhanced NFTs. With that, a partnership came along here where they partnered with entertainment, technology, and lifestyle leader McCartney Multimedia, joining forces there for the entertainment industry. Guys, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Ruth, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you here. Usually partnerships start off slow. You know, you try and find your footing, but you guys have hit the ground running here. You've teamed up with renowned artist Mae Pang to drop, and I'm going to read this, to drop iconic digital artwork NFTs of John Lennon's Lost Weekend. How did you start off the relationship with such a bang? Tell us about the impact, the influence that McCartney Multimedia has in the industry.
Well, you know, we're a woman-owned industry. We're a woman-owned business, and so being, a lot of our friends in the industry are, you know, female artists, women. Mae I've known since I was a child because she was firstly an assistant at the Dakota building where Yoko still famously lives. She actually found the apartment for them. And then, so, you know, just through happenstance in life, I've known Mae since the 70s. And then we hooked up again more recently at a couple of these fests for Beatle fans. And, you know, she's a jewelry designer. She's a storyteller. She's an amazing photographer. And we've always just stayed in touch. And when this opportunity came along through Liquid Avatar and Oasis, I thought immediately, of course, because of the McCartney being the last name of our company, wouldn't it be great to be the pop culture sort of cornerstone of the Oasis Digital Studios NFT world? And reached out to, you know, a few people, and there's a lot more exciting folks coming. And the first one that came back immediately and said, wow, I've been hearing about this from my son. And so, you know, Seb Visconti, what's it all about? So, you know, I explained it to him, and she said, okay, I'm in, I trust you, I know you. And we've been having some pretty mind-blowing Zoom meetings with David where she holds up pictures to the screen and we're all like, oh yeah, that'll be good. So there you go.
David, are you able to give us any kind of idea yet as to what we might be seeing from John Lennon's Lost Weekend photographs, or are you guys going to keep that under wraps until you start to reveal to the marketplace?
Well, I think, George, you know, as Ruth said, we got on a couple Zoom calls with Mae, and honestly, if I wasn't getting shivers, my mind was blown. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Mae had a very intimate relationship with John Lennon. She was able to take photographs of him that others would never see in private and public settings. And you know, I think the proper way to reveal these is as Mae wants to reveal them, along with her story. So this is not just a photograph, but Mae is looking at providing backstory in her own words, in her own voice, to be included with these digital NFTs.
And this is her personal and exclusive collection of photographs over an intimate 18-month period, right, Ruth?
Correct. The period has been dubbed by the major press for years as the Lost Weekend, but it was more than a weekend. It was a year and a half. And New York, LA, all over the place. They traveled extensively together. And it was Mae who was instrumental in bringing Julian, John's first son, back into the fold. And just some great stuff. She was telling me stuff this morning about Dennis Wilson and Brian Wilson, and the stuff that just blows your mind, you know?
How do you expect the industry to react to this announcement, Ruth? And you guys have been around since 1995, full service creative digital agency, great deal of success, very influential. You know, how do you expect people to react to this news?
I think it'll be a very interesting crossover from an age bracket standpoint, from a demographic standpoint, because obviously John has been gone since 1980, but he still has a lot of young fans who will understand the digital NFT space. And not unlike QR codes, which we're heavily involved with Flowcode, you know, it's a cross-generational thing. I think it's an opportunity to bring grandparents and grandkids together through art, technology, you know, memories. I won't say memorabilia, but, you know, memories and historical icons such as John.
David, what I really like about the partnership and the way it's kicked off with McCartney Multimedia is you're not just a couple of companies trying to jump on the NFT bandwagon. You're coming with quality digital, you know, quality product here, digital collection that people either have never seen or very few people have seen. Is this just a big bang, or and you're getting lucky the first time around, or is it a case of you can expect as a result of your relationship with Ruth to have more great collections and things like this slowly come out over the next weeks, months, even years?
Well, George, it's really interesting. Ruth and I have known each other for, we think it's about 12 years now. And so, you know, this is not our first connect, and Ruth has been kind enough. She's also sits on our industry advisory committee along with Alan Paul Silverstein, who's our other partner at ImagineAR in the project. And so we've been opening up our Rolodex as a group, as a company, and it's amazing to see the connections coming to us. I mean, we've both spent a lot of time in entertainment, and I've spent a lot of time in sports marketing as well. And the people who are coming to us based on our business model. Our business model for Oasis is an agency model. So we're working with clients to find the best solutions for them in NFTs, not the only solution or a particular platform. We want to find what's best for them. And based on the trust they have with Ruth and the trust they have with myself and other partners, we're seeing the floodgates start to open. And I think this release today will solidify our position in the marketplace as a leader in quality product, not just volume of product.
Ruth, David said trust there. And I want to ask you this, so this is a perfect segue. You must have had, you must always have a lot of options available to you, a lot of people coming to you, especially for non-fungible tokens now, NFTs, right? What was it about Oasis and David and Alan that led you to say, okay, I'm going to partner with Oasis Digital Studios on this?
Again, it's back to the word trust. You know, I mean, I've known David over a decade, and he was introduced to me by another couple of rock stars and my old friend Neil Stiles, who also sits on the advisory committee. Neil is a Brit and formerly head of Variety and also BAFTA. So I think it's tying all of those connections together and knowing, obviously everybody, you know, we do our due diligence on behalf of our clients, but, you know, I don't know who's behind some of these markets that are popping up like mushrooms, and if my clients are going to get paid or not. So when the opportunity presented itself with David's group, with Oasis, I was like, yeah, that's the home for all of this amazing pop culture stuff that I can put my hands on and bring the artists and stuff to the table. Because, you know, first of all, it's crypto, and a lot of people don't understand that. And then they think, you know, well, why can it be stolen? So then I spend an hour explaining what the blockchain is. And then, you know, so there are a lot of trust factors along the way, but it's also about having fun while you're doing that, getting the production together. And we've just had it's like a social club on Zoom, you know, we've had some great meetings, and we'll continue to have some more with people in the Beatles space, the pop culture space, the music space, and the food space, which we are burgeoning through. And in fact, I think I'm correct in saying we're going to be the first food-based NFTs, working with some incredible chefs, thinking of it like recipe cards, except they're experiential. Let's just put it that way. So it's about having fun and enjoying, because they're long days. There's some of them, start at 5 and end at midnight. So you might as well trust and have fun with the people you're working with. And that was what made my husband, who's my business partner, and I to make the decision to go with Oasis.
In all these client Zooms that you're having, talk to your clients, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, most people didn't even know what that was 60 days ago until the bronze dunk from Top Shot, let alone 6 months ago. So when you talk to your clients, what kind of a reaction are you getting from them? Thankfully, they trust you, obviously, but even despite that trust, are you getting a lot of that, which you see with all new technologies? Oh, this is crazy. Who would want to buy a digital collectible? What are you talking? What kind of reaction are you getting?
Yeah, a lot of it is, well, why on earth would anybody want, a digital baseball card or a picture of John Lennon, for example? And I go back to, well, when painters were only painting roofs of Sistine Chapel and inside churches, the first person to put a painting in a frame and hang it, why on earth did anybody want one of those? Why do people flock to Paris to see the Mona Lisa? Just as you think about the history of money and how it started with salt, hence the word salary, and then it went into agora, you know what that is, a global agora is where people met and traded. I need 3 goats and you need, 60 cabbages, right? So money has changed hands, and now we're all the way into crypto and ETH and Bitcoin. It's the same natural evolution with art. You can hang it on the wall, but nobody's going to be able to see it unless they come to your house. So I think, having the bragging rights, owning something that literally cannot be forged because it's on the blockchain, I think it's just a natural evolution of the way things, the way life changes.
And yet most people, it's hard, right? I remember when Bitcoin first came out, people said, oh, this is a dumb idea. Who wants a digital dollar? And then when esports came out, and I tried to explain to people, well, this is teams of teenagers who are creating teams and playing video game competition tournaments, people thought, oh, that's nuts. And now you're kind of hearing the same thing with NFTs. But Ruth, you've got the perfect combination of you're a veteran who's been around because you found it in 1995, and yet you're totally up to speed with with all the latest blockchain NFT. Are you convinced that non-fungible tokens are here to stay?
I am, because people literally live on their devices. If in the old days, a year ago, in the olden times, when you could go to a restaurant, we'd see people having lunch with each other, all 4 of them staring at their phones. This is where people live. I mean, in Asia, they literally have things painted on the sidewalk, stop. There's a street crossing coming, because people are looking down all the time. And so if we live in these digital worlds and devices, and we all live on apps, and I mean, even outside of cryptocurrency, there are apps like TransferWise and Zelle, and we all do our banking on our phones. So why wouldn't we do our collecting on our phones and our hobbies? We listen to music and MP3s through earbuds through our phones. So why wouldn't it be here to stay? And I think once I explain it to people, like, you remember how baseball cards were, and you bought a pack, and if you got Hank Aaron or somebody in your pack, it was worth more. I said, well, yeah, okay. We don't have to chop down trees for this. It's the green version of baseball cards. It's digital, right? So it lives in the cloud, and it lives on your phone, and it's under lock and key with this really long encrypted barcode, and nobody can steal it. So they're like, oh, I get it. So there you go. So I think it's here.
That's a great way. And I'd rather they hear it from you than from me. And we're going to make sure we turn that into a little mini clip, actually, so that people can hear that. That's a fantastic explanation. David, going back, talk about the business model. Something you said earlier, and I want to expand on a little bit, which is really important. Because NFTs are just, really finding their footing, and they're going to keep expanding. None of us know where to go, right? At the end of the day. And we don't want to be pigeonholed. Ruth brought up a good example. You don't know if you're going to go to George's NFT platform, maybe get ripped off, not get paid, or things like that. Is that the power of Oasis? Because you're saying, hey, depending on if it's art, we'll go to that platform. If it's entertainment, long lost photos, we'll go there. If it's food, like we'll go there. Is that the real power of Oasis, because you're not pigeonholed and you can give everyone all the options they need that perfectly suit them?
I think that's one of them, George. That's a very true statement. There hasn't been a lot of platforms that have literally defined their niche yet. Everybody's sort of all over the place, but at the same time,
Right.
Platforms have been charging outrageous fees. So the fact that we have the power of our programs give us negotiating power, number one, and number two, platforms are coming to us now.
Good point.
In the last week or 10 days, I mean, you saw that we announced Rare Dot Store with a group in Toronto who are a fantastic group of people, and we're really happy to be there. But we'll be announcing all kinds of relationships with platforms because they're coming to us saying, you've got product, you've got supply, we've got demand. Can we put the two together? And I think Oasis will be there to manage that process for our clients and Ruth's clients, and with transparency. That's really important. Our model is very transparent. Anything that needs to be approved in a cost has to be approved by the client. So they get to see everything before we go out the gate. So that's really, really important. And I want to add something that Ruth said. And there is this misconception out there that, and we've heard it once or twice, and I think we've all heard it, that, crypto uses so much power to create energy to create crypto. There's so much energy consumed. But again, we don't have to cut down trees. We don't have to mine metals. We don't have to ruin the water table, erode soil, environmental impact. Many of the mining facilities that are out there for crypto are really near renewable energy sources, whether it's hydroelectric or geothermic.
Right.
Or geothermal, sorry. So at the end of the day, there's I think the efficiencies, and we just recently read an article where the efficiencies actually favor cryptocurrency. And so the other thing I want to add is that, the generation, the millennials and Gen Zs, or Gen Z, if you're in Canada, they're not hoarders. They want transportability. They want experiential and collectability, but they don't want to be weighted down by physical product. They want everything virtual, as Ruth said. So I think we're offering them everything. And lastly, this is the real first opportunity through NFTs for crypto to go mainstream, where everyone understands it, because we're connecting, while it's intangible, what they perceive as a tangible item, although it is intangible because it's digital, but that tangibility factor, that virtual look, feel, and smell, together with a cryptocurrency. So we're taking that transition and moving it from that literally crypto world to a digital world, and everyone understands the digital world.
Well, think about how many John Lennon fans. I know my brother, who's 57 years old, is a John Lennon fan. He's got nothing to do with crypto. He's not in that world. But how many millions of people like him exist out there that now suddenly are going to say, well, I want a piece of that iconic digital artwork, so I am going to now incorporate crypto into my life. So Ruth, is that something David said earlier? Is that a big part of when you talk to your clients? Is it the negotiating power by saying, hey, Bob, Mary, I don't want to say names, but come, do this with us because we go through Oasis, and then we have negotiating power with platforms rather than George trying to go on his own, Mary trying to go on her own.
Well, sure. I mean, it's like the wisdom of the crowd and crowdfunding, all of that. It's if we go to, for example, clients will go, well, where will it be sold? Which platform? And I say, well, that's all part of our agency model. And that's why we're, involved partnering with you in the success of this, is because we're going to do all of the legal stuff, the due diligence, all of, you could just accidentally pick a platform out of the sky and boom, there goes the neighborhood, right? So, and I think it's something that people don't really understand, the tokenization, getting it on the blockchain, writing the smart contract, what all is in the contract, how, the time to market, the PR machine that Oasis has behind us with NRPR. So it's, it takes a village. And I think anybody who just wants to throw up an NFT on some website they found that's going to charge them, a flat fee plus in the fine print, you start seeing all of the outrageous fees and so on. Mm-hmm. If you're a lone wolf, you're not in a group position to negotiate. So I think that's a very important thing. And I also think that it will bring crypto to the forefront. You know, there are adopters like PayPal now and Coinbase and whatever, that making it easier to understand. And so I think, you know, all boats rise on the same tide. Why not?
And the fact of the matter is, talent, artists, entertainment companies, they've always had agents and agencies in between them
Absolutely.
and the real world, right? At the end of the day. So it makes total sense that Oasis is, and you guys are the agency in between them now, because talent artists don't want to waste time trying to figure out, should I
No.
go to George's platform, a Gorcom NFT platform, how do I figure this out? And then they make a horrible mistake.
Right. And the thing, you know, with typical artists, they understand that they just want to concentrate on their art. And there are things that, like, you know, packaging on a movie, you know, you'll package this, you get that actor if that director gets a slot, and then there's loan out contracts, and then there's residuals, and there's, you know, box office participation. They don't want to know any about that any more than they want to know anything about this. They just want to make art, have fun, do some interviews, and, you know, get paid, frankly.
So talk about getting paid, David, brass tacks. When do you think this begins? When do you drop this iconic digital artwork, NFTs of John Lennon's Lost Weekend? And do you have any sense for, you know, we've heard some big numbers. LeBron's dunk has gone for over, I don't know, $250,000 now, maybe higher because it changes all the time. Do you guys have any sense for, or is it too early to know just how valuable these could be? Because if they do well, I would assume that's going to make it even easier for Ruth and McCartney Multimedia to bring even more clients in.
Well, I think that the key is you know, you've heard me say this before, is crawl, walk, run, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure this is done right. So we're planning, again, subject to all, you know, all the caveats on earth, we're planning to have this done in late April to start dropping. I think the key really is working with Mae and Ruth to determine what is the best opportunity. There are some magical numbers in the John Lennon universe that we want to deal with, and that is, and Ruth can talk about those more than I would, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're building up a list of people who are interested. Between ourselves and Ruth, there's a lot of organizations that have fans that would be interested in knowing about this. So we want to give that time. And certainly we, you know, when we look at numbers, we're being very, very conservative, but you can imagine the value of these. And if we even offered a limited number of them, that exponentially the number could be quite large as a top line revenue. So we're using good judgment and best practices to ensure that we're doing things the right way, not the fast way.
And they're going to be AR enhanced also, David, which adds another element to it that most NFTs don't have.
Right, that's the key. There's a couple different techniques we're using. You know, Ruth and I have spent a lot of time in the entertainment industry, and you know, fortunately, we have a lot of experience in this industry. So we're looking at cinematic approach, and you might have seen that with our Phaser Universe launch. We're looking and playing with cinematics. We're also playing with you know, multimedia. Obviously, we've said that, and we're looking at augmented reality. So that not only the NFT owner, but others can enjoy the value of these products, even though they don't own them. So,
Ruth, go ahead.
No, sorry. So, and it might be a secondary opportunity for someone who wants to buy one from another to know that in the AR world, if you can see that image, you might be able to make a bid to buy it. So there's lots of opportunities here.
Ruth, dollar value aside, you if anybody knows PR around these kind of things, it's you, again, because you founded the company back in 1995. What kind of media and press do you expect this drop to generate leading up to it? I would assume that this is going to be something, but I may be wrong. That's why we're asking you. But I'm assuming this is going to be something that's going to be covered wide and far.
One would think, and one would hope. And also there is going to be, in one of these drops, in association with a media partner, there's going to be a charitable component. I talked to Mae just before about, she wants to direct some of the revenue, which will again spin out, not because we're doing it for that, but it will spin out more press and more interest to a food-based charity for food insecure people, and also to an Asian American, like the Anti-Defamation League, because Mae is Chinese American, her last name is Pang, and she herself has been experiencing on the subway in New York in the last week, she's been experiencing this ridiculous, unfounded hate. And so we really wanted, out of all this, you know, great, hopefully great success, we also want to give back and do good with the opportunity, because again, you know, instant karma, right? I think that, yeah, there are so many opportunities worldwide to benefit, you know, to get this artwork out there, and yet respect the provenance of it, and work with Mae and some of the digital artists at ImagineAR and Oasis. So we're looking forward to hopefully a long and winding, fruitful road of success with these things.
I love that you say that, because it just adds, and I think we're now entering, you know, a period where that's where people want to see. This isn't a cash grab. This isn't a, let's see if we hit the jackpot quickly. It's truly sharing. Yes, it's going to generate some revenue, but it's also going to benefit plenty of people. And I think that's the new model, right? Right.
Ruth? Well, I think especially with Gen Z and millennials, they want to buy the brands that not only are sustainable and organic, but that give back. Like, you know, you buy one pair of socks, another pair gets given to an unhoused person. So I think that in order to just do the right thing by John's memory, he was that kind of a guy. Imagine peace, you know, it wouldn't feel right to just simply be, you know, some money grubbing Hollywood agent and get all this thing and, you know, woohoo, look, make off like into the sunset. We want to use this opportunity to generate good.
David, you were talking about NFTs with me months ago, long before anyone was really talking about them, but you were talking about it months ago. So despite being ahead of the curve on almost everybody I know, and, you know, I'm always talking to tech people, did you in your wildest dreams expect to, by first quarter of 2021, have this fantastic partnership with ImagineAR, with McCartney Multimedia, and announce already such amazing, really special collections that could, in your wildest dreams, could you have imagined this?
I'd like to say yes, because that would make me look good. But I don't think, humbly, the answer is no. I mean, it's been pretty unbelievable, and it continues to be. You know, it was I was doing research for the release a couple weeks ago, and you know, it's a Saturday morning, and I'm being blown away, and my daughter comes in and says, "Dad, what are you doing? It's Saturday morning. What are you doing?" And I'm telling her what I'm doing, and she goes, and she's a huge Beatles fan, and she got the wonderful opportunity when I was on a Zoom call to meet Ruth and her mom Angie and Mae all at the same time. I mean, it was quite an event, and so, you know, it was just literally unbelievable. Like, you're sitting there writing a release and looking at music history and saying to yourself, how did I get in the mix of this? Like, you know, where did I come from? You know, 40, 50, almost 60 years ago. Where did I come from that when I was watching this on TV, I never thought I'd be part of it. But you say that each time you do something, whether it's some of our work, my past work with Disney or the Marvel Group or Stan Lee, or, you know, or any of those things, you think to yourself, well, how did I get here? And I think it's one is making great connections, but also, again, it's creating trust, creating honesty, creating truth. I mean, Ruth and my mutual friend, Neil Stiles, who was the you know, former CEO and publisher of Variety magazine, and part of our industry advisory committee, has always been a great mentor to me. So he's given me some great advice, and it's really surrounding yourself with people who know more than you do, and are experts in their field, and drawing on those talents, and being humble enough and honest enough to listen to that advice. And that gets you places. So could I have imagined this? I would have hoped I did imagine this, and the dream is coming true. But at the end of the day, it is, you know, kind of far beyond that. I want to give you a quote that I sort of live by, and it's by David Ogilvy. And it says, when you reach for the stars, you may not exactly get them, but you won't end up with a handful of dust either. So really at the end of the day, you've got to extend your reach, but you got to stay in your lane. So you can't be all over the place. You've got to stay in your lane, extend your reach, and hopefully if you do good things, good people will surround themselves with you.
Well, staying in your lane comes from philosophy, right? Which is not trying to be a money grabber. Because when you're trying to be a money grabber, you're not in your lane, and then everything goes awry. Ruth, last words to you, because you're our guest of honor in this one, but we're gonna have you back more and more. That's for sure. I'm getting I'm getting that great feeling too that David's talking about. Less so about, wow, I'm a shareholder of Liquid Avatar and I might make a lot of money now because the company's going to grow, and more so, man, it just feels like we're honoring John Lennon's memory. We're sharing it with his fans and we're doing great things with it. Is that going to be the driving philosophy that you think is paradoxically at the same time just going to drive the success of this partnership that you have with Oasis?
I think so. And I think it's again, it's about the red thread of life, and you wind up universally, the universe has a way of just putting things in, opportunities in your way. And if you miss them, or if you're too lazy, or you don't take some, chances to spend long time in the chair and do a lot of hard work, then, they pass you by. But I like to play the game, the red thread of life. How do I know David? Okay, through Neil Stiles, and then an event at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And then how do I know Neil? I know Neil through Nigel Lithgow, who was the co-executive producer of American Idol. So you Think You Can Dance, he created that, and America's Got Talent. How do I know Nigel? He taught me to tap dance in Liverpool when I was 15 years old.
Wow, unbelievable.
So, you tie those threads together, and now my Rolodex goes off in my head. So I'm going to go back to Nigel Lithgow and all of his alumni, of the people that he's worked with through the years on America's Got Talent and all the TV shows that he's done, and say, okay, let's roll our sleeves up, get on a Zoom with David, let's brainstorm, write down some names and see where life takes us. Do these people want to do NFTs? So if you play that connection red thread of life game, light bulbs will go off like you can't believe, stuff that you never could have thought of. The universe will lay it out for you, and you just better be there and pay attention. Pick those opportunities up.
I actually call that the domino theory. I talk about it with my kids, some of my people around me, saying the domino way over here, that you may think is small and insignificant and not special, leads to this domino over here. So you've got to treat everybody and every opportunity great.
That's the thing. I think, you get to stay in business a long time when you don't burn bridges, you don't burn clients, you do what you say you're going to do, plus 20% more for no more money. We run our entire agency on word of mouth. We've never advertised in 30 years, ever. Because what am I going to do? Take a page in the Wall Street Journal and go, we're really nice and we're really good and, come with us? No, it's reputation, and it has to precede you. And that's why I think we're going to be very successful in putting together a mind-blowing team of people for Oasis and the NFT program. Plus, then getting them all to get involved with Liquid Avatar and be, privacy advocates. Because,
we haven't even touched on that. We'll touch on that next time, but that is where the world is going, right? We should all control our private.
And especially celebrities, they need to show their ID when they get on a plane. They put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. But, who do they trust with their information? So Liquid Avatar is a perfect, it's perfect for everybody, but celebrities, I think once they actually do the math, they're going to jump on board, because how better to protect their privacy yet share the data they need to share.
And they can share that with all their fans and help Liquid Avatar really grow at the end of the day and benefit from it. And
I just want to say I'm going to leave now because there's no need for me here.
Ruth and I figured it out.
We got this.
We can take it out. Figure it out. You just get the paperwork done. And Ruth, by the way, on that red thread of life and your connections with America's Got Talent, I can juggle and make a Greek salad at the same time. So, I'm just joking about that.
And what about, it's got to include Saganaki though. We got to have flaming cheese being juggled.
I tried, but I almost burned the house down once. So I'm going to practice, but from now I'm going to practice outside. So if I drop the flame in Saganaki, at least I just burned down the doghouse, not the entire house.
Lactose intolerant, count me out.
You could collect the burning Saganaki flaming cheese NFT though. You wouldn't have to eat it.
Exactly.
Now we
wouldn't have to eat
money
it.
grabbers. Now it's not money grabbers.
Yeah.
But Ruth, next time when these travel restrictions come off, and no doubt, hopefully, you'll be flying to Toronto to meet with the team at some point. We'll all go out for a great Greek meal. And we'll talk about, that little tidbit you laid down that we'll talk about next time about something to do with NFTs and world-renowned chefs and food, because we're going to want to hear about that.
Oh, this is
blow your mind.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done before we get there, but again, crawl, walk, run. But it's just, that's been mind blowing as well.
Guys, congratulations on your partnership. Congratulations on this great early success. And congratulations really on conveying the philosophy behind this all. It's a beautiful philosophy. It's great for shareholders, but it's also great for artists, and it's great for the people and for fans and for everybody. So I think that's fantastic. And I can't wait to have you guys back on again.
I always like to say when I do deals, I like win-win, but I like win-win-win-win-win better.
Right, it looks like you're doing it with this, right? It's not easy to do that. Easier said than done. Yeah. But Ruth, you've really put that across. David's like win-win, so he's all right. But you've gone to 5 wins, and you're
well, you have to. It's karma. Especially we're talking about John. Karma, man, it's a thing.
But I gotta say, working with Ruth, it's 27-hour days. She's on the West Coast, and so it's like she said, it's long days, but amazing opportunities.
Fun. It is fun. It is great.
And it's fulfilling too, to get stuff out that, is very rare and give it new life and have whoever reads the press releases go and do a bit more digging. If they didn't know about what an amazing, wonderful man John Lennon was, well, that's a whole new audience that's going to discover him and his movement for peace and all of that.
Yeah, it kind of revitalizes his messaging at the end of the day around this, right? It's going to bring him right back. Yeah, we lost him way too early. Like I said, I think I said this off screen, but I remember where I was lying on the floor of my family room in 1980 when NBC broke. So I think we all remember where we were that day. But the next best thing to still having him here is to honor him with something as great as this. And congratulations to both of you on getting that done.
Thank you.
We'll try to do him proud.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for being here. This has been amazing.
For having me.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform. To Ruth McCartney, co-founder and digital diva at McCartney Multimedia. And of course, David Lukat, CEO of Liquid Avatar Technologies, trades on the CSC under LQID. For those of you who are new to the story, and that's going to be a lot of you, we know that this is cutting edge technology. And the great thing about cutting edge technology is it creates new markets, but it also means it's difficult to understand. Don't worry about that. Get to Agoracom, get to the Liquid Avatar Technologies hub, take a look at the profile page where we break it down there for you to understand. And make sure you get over to the liquidavatar.com site. And David, what's the website for Oasis? Because it's new. I don't have my
right. Oasis Digital Studios.com. And George, if they're interested in the NFT, they can sign up to the wait list.
Yeah, so make sure you get to oasisdigitalstudios.com. It's a great website, great information. Don't say we didn't tell you so 12 months from now. Do your due diligence. And hopefully, for those who are new, you've discovered your next great small cap disruptive tech company. Have a great day. See you next time.